to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could please just take a moment of silence for Chrissy Saldaña, who passed. Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ponce?
Here.
Councilmember Schickling?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle?
Here.
And for the record, Councilmember De La Rosa and Mayor Marshall will not be in attendance for tonight's meeting.
Any announcements?
Got two announcements. The first is a reminder for city council members to file their statement of economic interest. The Form 700 must be filed electronically directly with the FPPC, not the city clerk, and the filing deadline is April 1st, 2026. Some election news. The nomination period for residents interested in running for local office and having their name placed on the ballot for the June 2nd election is scheduled from February 9th through March 2026. Please note that City Hall will be closed on February 9th. The residents interested in pulling papers are asked to contact the city clerk's office to schedule an appointment.
And any written communications?
I have none.
All righty. We'll move into department head reports.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members, and City staff. Jackie Cordero, Public Works Director. Public Works has been very busy, as you all know. After tackling the emergency repairs we had, like the hillside at the mall and the cleanup there, we're back on our scheduled projects and routine maintenance. The Public Works crew will finish up the Women's Green Pier restroom renovations in the next couple of weeks. We're still waiting on some remaining parts to come in. The crew finished clearing up roots and backfilling trip and falls over at the cemetery. They also placed back markers, and they will finish up this week with aeration and reseeding, which will make the area look really nice. The crew also took out the casino porta potties and completed the renovations in the field dock restroom, installed an outdoor freshwater rinse outside the field dock restroom building. The crew is now catching up on the routine maintenance, like weeding around town, fixing irrigation leaks on Front Street, cleaning up the parks and JMF, and overall landscape throughout town. The crew is then scheduled to work on several renovation projects, two being the Casino Way benches and the Tremont Hall repairs, and of course, the wastewater treatment permanent fix and the fix to the rotor screen beam. Those are still pending as we coordinate with contractors and getting timelines to obtain the remaining pieces of equipment and materials needed for those projects. And that's it. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, City staff, Michael Alegria, Fire Chief. I'm going to start with on March 21st, we're going to do St. Baldrick's again down on the stage. It was a great turnout last year, hoping for the same this year. So save the date, March 21st, down on the stage on Front Street. And then in January already, we ran 76 calls in the month of January. And then with the slide here, this is our calls the last 10 years. Obviously 2020 COVID, but the last 4 years we've been over 1,100 calls, and that's without a lot of the nonsense fire alarms at the Atwater and Hamilton Cove. We've gotten quite a good handle on that. We get a few now and then, but not like we did back in the day. And then I was going to have these next two individuals come today, but they've been stuck in Texas for the last 30 days. Shane Machado and Marcus Watts are two new, well, one of our newest firefighters. Two of our three firefighters went out to Texas on January 2nd. They flew out to Texas. From October 1st till the end of December, they did a couple months of online training where they were 20 to 30 hours a week doing, taking tests and being online for those 3 months. Then they went to Texas. This here's a boat. We didn't get to play in the boat, but this place down here in Texas is larger than the whole city. There's so much. The fire ground there is huge. So we went out, Captain Mefford and I, and Shane's parents and Marcus's parents. With Captain Mefford, we went out and attended their graduation. 40 started, only 30 graduated. Shane and Marcus and Shane were 1 and 2 in the class. And on the day we got there Wednesday, Thursday, we got to go and watch them do fireground operations for a little while, and then it was too cold, so we left. But we got to watch them burn and sweat and get really tired. There's one to Shane. They went interior, upstairs, and downstairs. They did some searches. They were dragging out fake bodies, fake hose. And that's them on their lunch. They got a quick break. They ate. And we met them later for dinner. And then there's a group shot of us. But the instructors said, y'all from California really showed us up in this class this year. So between these two and one from Huntington Beach and one from San Luis Obispo, but Avalon guys were 1 and 2 in the class.
That's amazing.
Perfect.
That's, I think, a testament to the amount of training that you guys do on a regular basis and the amount of work that you do. It shows. So that's awesome.
Marcus led the class prayer at the beginning of graduation. There's a picture of Shane with his instructor. Shane wanted to wear his cowboy hat, but there are no hats allowed on the campus. And so, yeah, they did excellent.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Congratulations to them. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Any questions?
Is this the type of training that others will be going through as well, or what is the connection with this versus regular training that you guys have?
So we'll continue regular training. Like we go to Long Beach Fire and we go to Signal Hill, Santa Fe Springs to do live fire training. This is just a good basic fire academy to start. Some of us went on our own, some haven't. But for Christian, Juan, 4 of other guys have gone through this academy. It just fits well.
Yeah.
It's the combination, so it's half online and then only 1 month in Texas. All other departments, they usually do their own 16-week or longer fire academy. We can't do a 16-week. We don't have the facilities, or we can't send someone away for 16 weeks. So this one, it just fit perfect. Chief Craig found it years ago. Christian went, and that we've had 4 go through it so far.
Thank you. Any questions? You have stats for January as well, or no?
I think 76.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief.
And then here's our Cortico app, wellness app. I emailed you guys the letter. I sent it to your email. It's the same login for everybody. But just to kind of show you what it has in the spotlight some news articles, exploring categories, asking for a friend, and you could just kind of scroll and see what you need. But here, assessments and screening, career wellness, family wellness, emotional and mental wellness, financial wellness, health, leadership development, nutrition. There's all kinds of things, and you're able to click on it. And then there's all these different tests you could take. Adult ADHD, alcohol screening. There's all kinds of things, and then it scores you, and then from there it tells you what it recommends, and then it keeps going. So download it, take a look. There's a lot of information on it. And like I said, it's for all city staff, their families, to use it when needed. There's a direct, it also links our EAP, our Employee Assistance Program, on there. And if you wanted to call someone or text someone, there's a cancer hotline, a crisis hotline, suicide hotline. You could visit the link, or when you hit call, you could call, or you could hit call anonymously, and it won't show your phone number. And then the only stats, I think I said it before, the only stats we get are how many people have logged in, because all city staff has the same login and password. So they don't know whose
logging
phone
in.
it's coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in your city inbox. That's it.
Perfect. What a helpful app to have, and a great tool and resource for everybody to use. Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, city staff, city council. For the month of January, we had 368 incidents in our log. 276 of those are observations made by the deputies, including like traffic stops and pedestrian stops. 92 of them were calls for service from the public. We had 9 arrests. One was for drunken public, one was for vandalism, 3 were for unlicensed driver, 1 was for possession of narcotics, 1 was for under the influence of narcotics, and 1 was for possession of narcotics paraphernalia. We also had an arrest for exhibiting a firearm. This Friday is the Super Bowl cruise that's coming into town. It's a large ship that's coming in, so we have additional personnel working. Last year we weren't quite prepared for it, but this year we have four of us will be out there. So in case it's as big a crowd as last year, and just to make sure everybody's doing the thing they're supposed to be doing. We are just now starting a program with the Army National Guard. They have a program called Drug Demand Reduction Outreach. And it's basically built around school-age kids. They have 3 different groups, and we're going to mainly do, in town here, we'll be doing the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. We'll be having assemblies. The feds have a lot of funding for this kind of thing, so we'll be with them and working side by side as far as the educational narcotics types of issues and alcohol. That's about all I got.
Do you have dates yet for when those will be happening?
I
or
don't.
date
It'll be at
range?
the end of March. We're
Okay.
finalizing it with the school and with them. Any questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council, city staff, Kevin Schmidt, Harbor Master. So we've been doing a lot of things around the harbor, getting ready for season. Right now, we're getting our boats ready. We've got a couple of those we're working on right now. Some light maintenance around the harbor as well, especially out at the mole. Up in the office right now, we're working on the boating safety equipment grant, which hope to bring before you at the next meeting to purchase some outboard engines that we got with that grant. So we're working on that one. Another big one right now is we're trying to get all our Department of Boating and Waterways approvals to continue on with the Club Dinghy Dock project. So it's kind of a process. We got a couple more to get through with them, but it's in. We'll see how that plays out in the next month or two. So numbers-wise, actually, the weather, as you know better than I do, has been awesome, right? So we've been pretty busy, busier than usual for this time of year just because of the good weather. I looked at the numbers for last January compared to this one. We had 570 arrivals this year, for a total of 2,945 mooring nights. That's about a 12% increase over last January. And if you remember last January, we had some kind of crummy weather, so not so much this year. As for stats, we had 2 emergency calls, 7 enforcement calls, 50 public assists, 163 security calls, and 6 Coast Guard assists. So Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, Matt Baker, Finance Director. Don't have a whole lot for tonight. Next meeting, though, we will have our mid-year budget update, so there'll be a full update on revenues to date, as well as any mid-year amendments and things like that. But nothing tonight, unless you have any questions for me.
Good evening, Council. David Hart, Community Services. On January 24th, 25th, we had the Bison Invitational. It's the premier preseason high school lacrosse tournament that's held here every year. There was about 8 teams that participated in it, and about 400 to 500 people that come every year on a pretty quiet weekend to the island. So we do love seeing new events coming here and bringing people here. For ourselves, we have youth basketball that is starting up. Sign-ups are right now online on cityofavalon.com. Age groups from TK all the way up to 8th grade for participation. The evaluation day is February 21st, with first games being on March 8th. Again, sign-ups are now at cityofavalon.com. Last Friday, we met with the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, otherwise known as LAHSA, who conducted a homeless count on the island. This is the first time in 3 years that they've actually done one here, or included us within their LA County count. We guided them to known encampments and common gathering areas from our unhoused individuals here on the island. During the count, we only encountered actually 3 individuals while they were here walking about, and we can see 6 of them out on the boats, or what we call our liveaboards. While only 9 individuals were officially counted, LAHSA estimates that based on the encampments and approximately 8 liveaboards that we have out there, the total unhoused population on the island may range anywhere from the low end of 20 to the high end of 30 individuals. LAHSA also informed us that they have access to state per capita funding that can be used to help establish resources for the island, as well as offer resources as housing over town for those who are seeking to get themselves out of experiencing being unhoused. I will continue to provide updates as more information becomes available. Last week, our last council, I revealed what the theme was of the 4th of July, and now we've kind of, to give you a better idea how to utilize this theme, Red, White, in 250, celebrating our history, defining our future. Get ready to march through time. This year, we are just celebrating Independence Day. We're honoring 250 years of grit, glory, and big dreams. Our theme, Red, White, and 250, celebrating our history and defining our future, is a tribute to where we've been and a bold toast to where we're going. Think of it as a giant moving birthday party for the nation, and you are the guest of honor. To keep our timeline in tip-top shape, entry into this year's parade will be by registration only, so no showing up on the day of, because we would like people to register early, register their cart, their theme. We want you to pick your favorite chapter of the American story and bring it to life. Ideas that we have from those chapters from the beginning, from the American Revolution to the constitutional era, America expansionism, Civil War, the Reconstruction Age, the Gilded Age, American imperialism, the World Wars, Cold War, Civil Rights Movement, to the Information Age. So we ask people to choose an era, and then we want to line you up based on that era. So we have the history of America going through our front street for our 250th anniversary. So for those who are trying to figure out how to do their cart, we've been able to be able to define it for you, and please register online at cityofavalon.gov. Thank you.
Is there a limit to carts or no?
No, we've had, the most we've ever had for carts is 75, is the largest we've had was 75 entries. So we can go probably up to 100, but then we're probably looking at getting up towards Hamilton Cove. Yeah, so, but we think it would be, we just want to make sure that every cart that does enter this year has some sort of theme to it instead of just throwing a bunch of streamers on it sometimes that some of the carts do. So we wanted to make sure we got out ahead and really made this a big celebration of our country for 250 years.
And is there a cutoff to the registration, like July 3rd?
June 15th. June 15th will be the last day to register your golf cart. So we're going to be doing a big push out through our social media sites, and we plan on we're talking with McKenna on Friday from Love Catalina and we're going to see about Love Catalina also being able to push this out through their outreach as well.
June 15th is the last day to register for the 4th of July parade.
because we're
Wow.
gonna-
Okay,
yeah.
listen to that, people.
Yeah.
Get planning.
Get planning now.
That way we can definitely schedule ourselves out on how this is going to
Yeah,
look.
yeah, it makes sense,
Yeah.
because I know it can be kind of a cluster.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Appreciate
cool,
it. Any more
thanks.
questions? No? Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. Jocelyn Francis, Assistant City Manager. I wanted to give you an update on the Civic Center housing project. We currently have bids out for 3A and 3B. We extended the time period until February 10th at 2 p.m. So bids for both 3A and 3B are now due February 10th at 2 p.m. Once we get those bids in place, we'll share them with our housing consultant, and we'll be coming back to City Council in March with a full feasibility analysis on the Civic Center housing project and recommendations on how to move forward. So that's where we're at with that project. And then it's vehicle season. Yay, our favorite time of year. All right, so go online if you haven't already, cityofavalon.gov/vehicles. Click on vehicle renewals, and you can pay online. All you need to do is upload your DMV registration. And then when you come in, they'll have it ready, printed out, the sticker ready to go, and you'll be on your way. Hours for vehicle registration, we're starting at 8:30 in the morning. That gives the clerks a little bit of time in the morning to process those online renewals received. Deadline is April 1st. So come on in, bring $50. We'll accept check, cash, or card, or in person. Make sure all those parking citations are paid off, and we will love to see you then. So far, we've issued roughly 100 stickers so far, so that's great. People are on it this year. And while you're here at City Hall picking up your vehicle sticker for vehicle season, tell us what you love about the city of Avalon. We want to know, right? We have little heart cutouts that you can fill out. Tell us what you love. If you want to interact with the City of Avalon on our social media pages and tell the world there, we'd be happy to hear it. All for the month of February, we'll have that up in our City Hall. Next up, the Hungry app. So tentatively, we have scheduled the Hungry app team coming March 3rd through the 6th. We're hoping to get them to City Council to do a presentation here in the flesh, and then meet with all of the restaurants in person and do some community trainings and meetings here for our residents. So we're excited to meet the team in person and get the word out there even more. And then last, everyone must have gotten bicycles for Christmas. So code enforcement have picked up almost 60 abandoned bicycles throughout the city, which indicates to me that people don't know what to do when they get a new bicycle and they've got an old one. So CR&R will accept it as a bulky item. So you can call CR&R. We get, as residents, we get 3 free bulky item pickups a year. They'll come take it off your hands and make sure that metal bicycle is recycled. So just a reminder about bicycles. Any questions?
A couple. So one, a good point for everyone to know, the schedule isn't split this year for subsidies versus registration. You guys have 2 staff at the front desk, so they can come up at either of those times to do both during the season, right?
Yeah, and out of season. Anytime you want to come take care of city business, we are open to the public. During February, we'll still close at noon on Fridays. During the month of March, we'll be open full day on Fridays.
And then are camps on your radar for the Hungry app for when they're here in town as well? We were talking about Campus by the Sea or any of the other camps.
Yeah,
If we
yeah.
can make sure they're on the radar to come into town at those
Invite
one
'em.
of those days, yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Cool.
Yeah. Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob or anybody else? No? We're good? No Kelly?
No Kelly
right.
today.
City manager.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Just a couple things that haven't already been addressed. The city has applied for and feels pretty confident about a grant to acquire 3 new additional GEMs for, that would be put into the circuit fleet. This would give us a chance to not only keep new vehicles coming into that system, but add additional, hopefully additional drivers and vehicles on the road as we ramp up for the summer. So we expect to hear on that grant late spring. But, you know, we feel pretty confident, you know, through our staff, through Aliana and our staff at Townsend, that we'll be hopefully getting awarded that grant. Just want to report that last week the harbor, through Cheryl Allison, was able to finalize that first season with the cruise ships for our port agreements. So it's that fall season, fall, winter, spring season of beginning in September 27 through May of 27. So they submitted pursuant to the port agreements, their schedules. That time period is 34 weeks they have there, and the port agreements filled up 29 of those 34 weeks of just the 3 cruise ships. So with the 3 cruise ships for those weeks and filling up those days, just roughly calculating that'll bring in more money for the cruise ships through that period than we have done in any given full year. So we're excited to have, you know, where this is heading, which is fewer cruise ships, smaller cruise ships, more revenue for the city. You know, appreciate both Carnival and Disney for getting their agendas or their schedules put in, and for Cheryl getting those worked out. So we're still in that transition mode where we have a number of different partners we're working with, because we're transitioning out of where we used to be to where we're going to be. So this year will be a little bit difficult, but so far so good. And then finally, this Thursday is the cutoff for the RFP for the Mole project. So the city will field all the submitted RFPs. We'll spend about 30 days going through those, reviewing those, narrowing down for council. We're hopefully that second half of March, by the end of March, we'll be in a position. What we'd like to do is schedule just a special council meeting for you guys to just focus on the Mole RFPs, so we'll narrow it down to the top 2 or 3, bring them in, have them make a presentation to you guys by the end of March, and just have a special council meeting. We'll find a date that works for everybody just to address that project. So it's very exciting that Thursday we'll know, and a month later we'll hopefully have a partner to work with and get this project going. So that's exciting. In the meantime, we're well on our way to working on those Phase 0 projects, which is the utilities, and then filling in the last couple areas with the grates out there on the mall. So you'll see some work out there. Utilities going in, plumbing going in for the temporary trailers, temporary facilities. That'll be the work that's going to go in along Pebbly Beach Road there, where we have the K-rails. We had the K-rails there for the rock slide, even though we did the scaling on the hillside. We're going to leave those K-rails there because soon enough we're going to be using them when we start the utility digging. So that's kind of a brief of where we're at. Any questions?
Just tagging back to Coast/Circuit, are we fully staffed? Do we have drivers?
They have drivers. You know, right now they're trying to base it on. I mean, they're doing more. We're still increasing year over year, where we were in the years before. But they they have an advertisement out for drivers, but I think that's more in anticipation of what's coming this summer versus where they're currently at. They're looking to hire, but they are fully staffed and putting drivers on the road now.
Oh, okay, because twice I tried to use it and it said, service is not busy. And so I ordered one and it just went around and then finally it just said no drivers available. And I was like, well, service is not busy.
Right, yeah.
So, all right, just
Yeah,
curious.
that shouldn't be. I mean, we could certainly, if that happens again, I'd encourage you to immediately let either Devin or I know, and we can kind of tag that, put a pin in it and tag it and see what happened at that time frame.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Councilmember reports.
City Attorney.
Sorry?
City Attorney.
Oh, City Attorney.
Nothing to
are you there,
report
Scott?
tonight. I'll
Hi.
talk to you enough in closed session.
Thank you. Councilmember reports.
I don't have much. Just wanted to say that I attended a forum last night that was held in the chambers for the community church victims and possible pathway forward for the direction for the church, and it was very, very good. It was positive. It was supportive. And apparently there's going to be more forums coming up. So if you're interested if you're spiritual, if you're interested in what you want to have happen in your spiritual life in the church, pay attention to that and come to the forums and voice your opinion. There's absolutely no pressure. You can also write stuff down and send it in so that you can be anonymous if you'd like. But I was really, really happy to see that there's some positive movement going forward after a very, very, very difficult period for many, many people. And that's about all I got.
I attended Cal City's Community Services Policy Committee meeting 2 weeks ago, but in the 12 years that I've been on policy committees, this was the best policy committee meeting we ever had.
What made it so good?
Staff was listening to what the people were saying. A lot of our meetings are them presenting to us. This was us saying, no, we want to look at legislation. We want to give our opinion on bills that we can support and bills that we can't, or bills that we can write. The big one was our first meeting is always doing what our scope of work is going to be. They poll us. They come up with the top. They started off with 4, and then the group decided, no, we just wanted to do 2. And then the comments kept going that, no, there was 3, dropped 1. But the compromise ended up being is that we really want to focus on seniors, parks and rec, community services, and youth. But the one that got the top vote of the polling was homelessness. But we came to the realization that these other 3 all go into homelessness. So if we can fix things here, we can work on things over here too. So it became the sub. But it was nice to have the communication that went through, the back and forth, and out of 12 years of going to policy, it was like I said, the best meeting that I had attended. So
Very good to hear.
and then Avalon Rotary Club and Interact and Avalon Freight we're doing our clothing drive. So it will be on Saturday, February 28th from 10 to 2. Please have clothes in boxes. That's real important for us. When we did it last year, we took boxes and bags. But when we send things over town, if it's in a box, it's going to get put on a pallet. If it goes in a bag, we have to move those bags, us physically move them out of the truck and out of the trailer into the truck. And it's just easier if everything went on a pallet and got put in. We will be at the Catalina Canyon once again. And this, once again, it's sponsored by Avalon Rotary, Avalon Interact, and Avalon Freight. And we will be sending our donated goods to Well in the Desert in Palm Springs. The last time we did this, we thought, oh, they're not going to use all of this stuff. They used everything. So anything that we can do to help them would be great. So, but I know that people have been asking for this because they can clean out their closets. So look forward to it. So Saturday, February 28th from 10 to 2 at the Catalina Canyon.
Yeah, that's a popular event. Someone asked if there was going to be any option if people are having to work on Saturday, if you might have either an early or a late drop-off option. So I don't know if you can discuss that.
That we haven't talked about that, but
Okay.
I will check and see.
Yeah, thank you. And then for me, I'll be attending Gateway City's COG tomorrow in Paramount. Not a lot else with the holidays and being out of town with family for a little bit. It's always interesting going into other cities and seeing how other cities operate and what other cities look like. And I felt extremely proud coming home to how beautiful the town looked, how many improvements are ongoing. I know there's a lot of construction happening and a lot of projects happening in multiple places around town, and just want to remind everyone that that is a good thing. It means that there's money in the city. It means that there's work happening and people are hired and things are being improved upon. So just as we move into this kind of phase of a lot of projects happening in a lot of spaces, to both recognize why it's good, even if it can be loud at times, to recognize why it's beneficial, even if it is slightly off-putting while it's happening. Just kind of a friendly reminder, and was nice because I was in a few communities where nothing was happening, and you could clearly tell that there was a need for that. And so it's just kind of nice to come back home and see that we're kind of doing well. Yeah. And that's all I'll say for that for right now. If we could go ahead, oral communication. This is a time where members of the public may address the city council. No action will be taken on non-agenda items at this meeting, and speakers should limit their comments to 2 minutes each. First.
Can I begin? Yeah, okay. Hello, Council. Thank you. My name is Lauren Denhart. I'm the Senior Director of Conservation for the Catalina Island Conservancy. I just wanted to give you an update on some of the work that we have. As you may know, the restoration management permit for the island restoration has been approved by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife on Friday. The permit supports Operation Project Catalina, which combines conservation initiatives, habitat restoration, and wildfire prevention. Part of the plan is also deer removal, and if we could just take a second, just wanted to correct some misinformation out there. We are planning on primarily working in the interior of the island. Any work that may occur, and we're going to try to avoid it, in the city of Avalon won't occur until 2029. There's also some comments that we've noticed about drop nets. Those will not be used for this permit, for this project at all. That in drop nets, just so you're aware, are the ones that look like a tent, basically with a net where you bait. We will not be using those on Catalina at all. Anything that we would do in Avalon, there would be no firearms, no netting, no operations on private property without permission, and we would work closely with the city of Avalon in any operations that may be necessary. We also wanted to mention that we're hosting our 13th annual community conversation event, or 13th community conversation, and it's tentatively planned for this Tuesday, February 10th at 5 p.m. at the Trailhead. And anyone from the public who has any questions about the project or would like to learn more is more than welcome to attend. Thank you.
Lauren, real quick, sorry, what time, February 10th?
Sorry, it's tentatively planned for February 10th at 5 p.m. And
5
I
p.m.,
can follow up with council once that's confirmed.
If you could, that'd be great, please. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Paul Birchall, Avalon Library. Hello, everybody. I want to invite you all to a concert at the library tomorrow. We're going to have a performer by the name of David Winstone. He's going to perform Celtic Irish music with sea shanties tomorrow at 4 I'm really excited about this program. It's going to be lovely. He's a lovely singer. I don't know, if nobody else shows up, I'm just going to sit there and watch the sea shanties and be perfectly happy. But I'm hoping everybody comes to see it. It's going to be a lovely show. Also, coming up the day before Valentine's Day, I'm going to have my classic Caldecott and Newberry ice cream book party. I'm going to make you boys and girls read. I've bought a whole bunch of wonderful old Newberry and Caldecott award-winning books, and I have them on display. Free ice cream, but you got to read a chapter of the book. So, going to do that. Also going to have a Valentine's Day craft on the 14th, the art of Jim Dine, who does beautiful heart-shaped cards. He's not coming, but we're going to do art in that style. I want to remind everybody about our Everything You Wanted to Know About Catalina History Talks with Chuck Liddell and Sandy Putnam. Oh, those are fun. They've sort of devolved into discussions of history where people talk about their memories and stuff they remember, and the good stuff that was from long ago, and then the terrible stuff that's right now, but not so much that. Not so much that. Not so much that. That would be dreadful. I show a movie on Wednesday, February 11th. We use our Canopy library card app. We have some movies that are license free, and I'm going to show Doctor Who and the Daleks just because. Coming up on March, I have another concert. Carrie Fenster, who does an All Abilities concert for Neurodivergent, and everybody. Lovely. He does all the libraries. I've heard wonderful things about him. It's going to be very inclusive and wonderful. And then much later in March, March 20th, I'm going to have a visit from the Crayola Arts Academy, World of Design. We're going to do an arts project. Plus, there's a book club at the end of February. We're going to read The True Story of Raja the Gullible and His Mother by Rabi Alameddine. It's the winner of the Pulitzer and some other awards as well. Please come and join us. Oh, that's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. I was trying to be mindful about time.
I should always try and go in front of Paul because he's a hard act to follow. Jim Luchahan, Love Catalina Island, with a couple of announcements for the community. If you are interested in joining in a stakeholder meeting this Thursday at 1 p.m. on behalf of our Care for Catalina activations, we're holding that at the U.S. Bank Founders Room. Community's invited. We will be discussing our sustainable tourism plan implementation or modifications as we go forward in trying to implement it. We will be discussing how people can get involved with Kind Traveler in helping to support other sustainability efforts on the island. And most fun of all, we will be discussing how we can have the biggest, best Earth Day celebration the island has ever seen on April 22nd. We have acknowledgments from Avalon Rotary, the City of Avalon, Blue World, and hopefully a handful of others by the time we meet Thursday or in that meeting to come together for citywide, community-wide, giant cleanup. And then also mark your calendars, please, for the 19th. There are 3 things going on that day that people might want to be aware of. We are holding a meeting at 11:15, just an ad hoc committee to discuss FIFA and the Olympics and how we might be able to leverage that for tourism promotions on the island. Then we have our regular board meeting at 1. And then we have at 6 p.m. our mixer that night. It will be hosted by AVX, who are the awardees on the Undersea Fiber Project, and that's where the community will be celebrating that award and where we'll have a big giant prop check and some things like that. And of course, we want all of you as council members to join as well. And that is it. Thank you.
And Jim, just to give you a heads up, there also was just announced today a sustainability meeting as part of the LA 28 programming that the Board of Supervisors has put together. So I'll get you that info as well for Care for Catalina. It might be something that might either be helpful or be helpful for the Olympics specifically. So
I also spoke with Jennifer Lamarck today and invited her to join us on the 22nd.
Perfect. Thank you.
Evening, Council. Daniel Feltz. Want to begin by sincerely thanking everyone who attended the Community Truth and Healing Forum yesterday. those who came in person, those who joined online, and especially the survivors and individuals who chose to speak. Sharing publicly takes courage, and their voices were an important part of that evening. I want to also thank Councilmember De La Rosa, who attempted to attend virtually, and Councilmember Schickling for attending the forum in person. Your engagement and presence were meaningful and appreciated. I want to recognize the small team of community members who helped make the event run smoothly, from planning and coordination to emotional support and behind the scenes. Yesterday reinforced how important it is for our community to have spaces like this where people can listen, learn, and offer input before major decisions are made. This isn't just relevant to the situation, but all issues that impact our town. When residents are included early, and trust and understanding have a chance to grow. For those who were unable to attend, the video of the forum will be made available shortly, along with the resource information provided. The forum survivor resource material shared at the forum were provided by Avalon Community Church Victims Fund. I wanted to read a quick statement from them. The Avalon Community Church Victim Fund is a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting survivors of abuse in our community by helping them access state and county resources for them to begin their healing journey at their own pace. We are here to support survivors and ensure they are not navigating this alone. Thank you for your time, and thank you to everyone who continues to show up for our community.
All right. No further oral communication. We'll move on to the consent calendar, please.
Okay, for the consent calendar, item 1, approval of the minutes from January 20th, 2026 regular city council meeting. Item 2, approve the disbursements for January 5th, 2026 through January 23rd, 2026, totaling $5,341,167.11. Item 3, approval of waterside permit, change of conditional use for Avalon Aquatic Excursions. Item 4, waterside permit application approval for Catalina Charters. Item 5, waterside permit application Catalina Harbor Cruises. Item 6, a waterside permit application Fairwind Ocean Charters LLC. Item 7, waterside permit application Heidi Wilson Boat Cleaning. Item 8, approval of waterside permit amendment of conditions of use for Island Enterprises, Inc., DBA Catalina Adventure Tours. Item 9, waterside permit application for Jeffrey Tucker.
All right, council, any items you want to pull? No?
I don't want to pull anything. I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 9.
I'll second.
Call over the vote, please.
3 ayes, 2 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa, Mayor Marshall.
Okay, general business, item number 10 is seeking approval for the purchase of a 2026 TruVac Paradigm vacuum excavator truck. Jackie Cordero.
Good evening. This is for the Ditch Witch replacement. We're going to replace it with a TruVac Paradigm vacuum excavator truck. Here's a picture of one of the many utilities we use the Ditch Witch for. The Ditch Witch currently is a trailer. It's unable to safely pothole or provide good precise digging. It's difficult to maneuver in the town because you have to tow it, and then it adds to the footprint. It's 13 years old, it's in poor condition, and it needs extensive repairs. It's unreliable piece of equipment, and because it's so unreliable and increases the inefficiency of our operations. And then what we would like to replace it with is the 2026 TruVac Paradigm vacuum excavator, which offers easier to maneuver around town. It's a smaller footprint. It's enhances efficiency with utility potholing, can be dedicated to the non-sewer operations that we do, and it's going to be reliable in supporting construction utility needs. It will be a backup for our current Vector truck. It will allow the Vector truck to go over to the mainland for much needed repairs and upgrades. And the Vector truck then can when it comes back, can be just really used primarily for sewer, which is compliant with what we should be operationally, we should be doing. That's, any questions on that?
Council?
This thing for $526,000?
Yeah, it's a specialized piece of equipment.
I was like, is that a typo?
I wish it were. And your packet, the Haker, is a sole source, and on there it has all the standard features. It's custom made, so it will take some time to get it. It's not something you get off the shelf like a Ford truck.
And it's mostly stainless steel to be able to handle
Yes.
the salt water that we're dealing with.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure, given the infrastructure around here, yeah, I think it's needed.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager or their designee to procure, per the city's purchasing policy, a new TruVac HXX Paradigm vacuum excavator truck that meets the required specifications outlined by staff for a total not to exceed $526,000. I'm assuming that's Fund 13825-6781. The purchase will be made through Haker Equipment Company, located at Laverne, California, using their Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement contract number 101221-VTR.
I'll second.
First and second, and call for the vote, please.
3 ayes, 2 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa, Mayor Marshall.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Item number 11, request for to go forward with two-dimensional floodplain modeling. Mr. Greenlaw.
Good evening. This item considers an engineering study to update the city's floodplain model, which in turn provides the basis for the city's floodplain mapping. A little history. The city is part of the National Flood Insurance Program, the NFIP, through FEMA. This program relies on floodplain mapping created based on an engineering study, which is referred to as a flood insurance study, FIS, in terms of FEMA, if you go on their website. The city first completed its first FIS in 1977, and then revised it in 2008. So there's been actually 2 of these done. These maps were based on best available technology at the time, which was USGS mapping. So your common topo maps, that's what they relied on to do our floodplain mapping within our community, and that was pretty well standard at that point in time. These maps were based, so the limits of the floodplain through the community were defined along with the base flood elevations. This is the mapping used to determine flood insurance on a property. So if you're in the flats, that would be what determines your flood insurance. This is the current mapping for our community at this time. So why the change now? Why are we asking this? The Santa Catalina Island Company is pursuing a project in the area of the Civic Center here for some housing. And one of the studies that the city is requiring is a floodplain analysis, since a portion of that project is in the floodplain. The island company pursued the mapping and was required to create a floodplain model. Because we did the modeling off the USGS, we didn't have a digital model, and that was necessary to be able to revise the mapping and see what would occur with their project. And because the previous study relied on the USGS topo mapping. The modeling effort used best available technology, but in this case, the technology has become very advanced with LiDAR topo mapping. And upon review of the pre-project mapping of the city's floodplain, the new technology has changed the floodplain boundaries. And this is only preliminary right now. So what is important here is the term pre-project. These changes would occur with or without their project, and as a result of more accurate technology and mapping the results in that. So that means potentially our floodplain boundaries could change. And if you go to FEMA's website, so this is what they spell out just simply. When flood maps are updated, some residents and business owners may find that their property's flood risk now shown is higher or lower than before. Others may see no change. So you may be required to carry flood insurance or no longer. So it's very important that we get very accurate mapping, okay? And the Island Company has finished what we've asked to be able to determine their mitigations for their project. So since this mapping may change, this effort may change our floodplain mapping, the city desires to provide the most accurate floodplain delineation to the community for consideration, because it really is, once we get that done, then we have some community meetings and then show what the effects were on it, okay? And so remember, this is all just changing our floodplain pre-project because of good data. To accomplish this, the city wants to further analyze the model that their consultant has created with a 2D effort. So what they did is they went through a one-dimensional effort, and a 2D effort becomes more granular. You have to put more data in the model, so you can imagine that you have 1,000 data points, and now you're going to have 3,000 data points, so that becomes costly. And so we would have to do that in the future anyway, or FEMA would come in and do that, especially if we had some type of flood catastrophe. They'd come in and redo the mapping. Since we haven't done this in 2008, there's an opportunity in front of us right now that there's already this effort where this model's being built. We can step up and say, we can do more accurate mapping and really revise our mapping and have a model, a digital model now. So it brings us really into the current needs of what the community needs now. We should have good floodplain mapping. And the reason for the 2D versus the 1D is that we have what is called a river vein type mapping that would come down the canyons. And then that stops at the flats. And now we come into a more urban, now we have buildings and all these obstacles in there. And when you put just that river vein 1D model in there, sometimes it doesn't give you the most accurate data. And so if you're going to require somebody to be in or out, it's going to make decisions that could impact that floodplain. We want to make sure that we have the most accurate info in front of our community, okay? And so what this is their consultant has come and said, if you really want this and you really need this for your community, there's an additional cost. And so in discussing with the city manager, we think that this really needs to be done right now. It's an efficient way of getting our mapping done and then bringing us really into a current standard. So we just think that it's an efficient opportunity right now to be able to get this done, to be able to work with our partners here and get this done. So any questions on that? And
Yeah, is it only going to be done down there?
Yeah, so mostly the 2D is going to be from, say, City Hall all the way to what is considered the coastal floodplain, which is Front Street.
Right.
Okay, and then we'll see that interface with the coastal floodplain too, and it'll all be 2D mapped. So then they'll put, more data points in that model.
Yeah.
And let it grind away, and then they'll show the results, and you'll see that per parcel, you'll see what the result is.
Right. So on our old maps, is this the only area that is showing up as a floodplain, is the one
Well,
that...
it comes down in the golf course, I guess simply to say, comes to the golf course, comes into the Field of Dreams, and then and then, of course, we have another finger coming down through Five Corners, but really what it does is it works its way into the flats and over into Sumner, and then all the way into Clemente, Clarissa, and finds its way down to the waterfront, collects back up, and then, of course, it's going to find its way into Clarissa mainly, and then enter into the ocean, which you see when we had the mud flow back in 2018, 2019, you know, it found its way in there. It would follow that same path.
So I
But it
guess
would
what
be
I'm really
more
asking
broad.
is, are they only going to do it for the housing projects that are on the horizon, or is this going to encompass the whole
This is to remap
town?
the whole city, whatever
The whole
would
town?
be required for our city.
Oh, good, okay.
Okay, so, you know, really, it's really taking, and the difference here is really the urban area, you know, in the flats here. That's really where the flood insurance is. Because everything else in the golf course, that is really not, it's not populated, you know. It's
Right.
you know, you have the, and it's not in the school, it's not where the hospital is. It's really from Avalon Canyon over to, in the golf course is the floodplain, up in the Rivervine area.
We're just taking advantage of kind of piggybacking on the proposed housing project to take advantage of what they've already done at this time, so that's why.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just asking because it just called out that specific area, so I just wanted to make sure that we were going to encompass the
Yeah.
entire town,
Yep.
which makes sense to me, and especially for 30 grand, that sounds like a good use of $30,000 to me.
Well, the only other question I had was just, I know this is pre-project mapping. Is there a way, when we move forward with the project itself, to, if we learn of an increase in risk for certain areas, try to find ways within the project to also mitigate future risk? I'm assuming we're going to probably have to go out and do this again after the projects are built, just because it will significantly also change the floodplain once again. Is that reasonable, or would this be sufficient to be able to map what it is now and then hopefully understand it's less risk in the future?
This anticipates that project, right?
Yes, yes, and so they have
Modeling
the
to map what the
pre-project,
shoot-
and
yeah.
that's why we're stepping in, because our pre-project, it should be, when the pre-project, it should be mapped, whatever, and it should be consistent. It isn't with the new mapping. Then they have, when they'll come in with their project, they have a mitigation, and they have to do things within the channel. They cannot increase the base flood elevation, any other property. They cannot increase the velocity of the flow, and they have to put in mitigation to be able to do that. That allows them to use their property, you know, so that we don't waste real estate here, valuable real estate that's right within the area that's walkable, infill type development.
And then the only other question was, if this is something we should be having regularly, do we need to just put a fund aside for it to be budgeted every, I don't know, 15 years is sufficient, or 20 years, or
Yeah, every
if only a
15
project would be
And
15?
then also be talking to FEMA. They
Right.
usually, there's catastrophes all over the United States,
Right.
and they're putting their money into someplace like New Orleans.
Right.
That, you know, really gets impacted, you know, has a massive flood. That's why they don't pay too much attention to us, and that's why the levels of study wasn't, you know, because, you know, we're a small community. The flooding problems have not been very pronounced here.
Right. And I don't know, the other question I had was if we should be speaking to FEMA about funds to offset the cost as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I think going forward, we'll certainly look at that to try to, and get it on our budget, and also look for granting opportunities
Yeah.
for that.
I feel like they're in the mode of wanting to have preventative versus after action, so having that ahead of time might be something that would be beneficial for them as well as for us, so,
Great point.
yeah. And do I have a motion or any other?
I'll make a motion to make the affirmative finding that a competitive market does not exist and the city will not gain a competitive advantage by using a formal contract bid or other competitive procedure, and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with BKF Engineers for a not-to-exceed sum of $30,000 to provide two-dimensional floodplain modeling of the area north of Tremont Street to the Pacific Ocean.
I'll second.
Call for the vote, please.
3 ayes, 2 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa, Mayor Marshall.
Okay, item number 12, request for change order number 3 for cultural resources consultation agreement with Montrose Environmental Services.
Okay, so this item authorizes the city manager execute a change order number 3 for the professional services agreement with Montrose Environmental Solution. And really, they're the ones that we had brought on for our cultural resources activities, you know, as we're doing projects, especially capital projects, but also for our maintenance activities. So if we're digging, you know, excavating in the ground, and we're, especially in the area where the flats, and that's where Five Corners is that's a sensitive, you know, per what our documents are for what we have for the city, is that it's a sensitive area, sensitive cultural resource area. So part of our environmental document for the Five Corners project and the mitigation monitoring plan included monitoring those cultural resources. And then as we were excavating for the new storm drain, like we said before, we had probably what was removed from the Metropole Hotel, the fire at that point. It was distributed throughout that area there. Probably not a good idea, but that's what we had to deal with. And so that had all kinds of artifacts, cultural resources. So, and then as we're digging through the intersection, we're almost done, okay? Excavating, digging things up. So we're hoping this is the last time we're asking for this. I know that it's getting costly, but as part of the environmental document that we put together, this mitigation monitoring, every agency that's here or somebody that's digging on the island has to do this too. So, okay, that's what's in front of you.
Questions or comments? No?
No, I'll make a,
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute change order number 3 for the professional services agreement with Montrose Environmental Solutions, Inc. to continue to provide cultural resource consulting for the Five Corners site improvement project through February 2026 for an additional sum of $23,244 and a new contract total sum of $239,372.
I'll second.
Called in second. I'll call for the vote, please. Motion in second. Here we go. Thank you.
3 ayes, 2 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa, Mayor Marshall.
Finally, we have item 13, which is a request for ratification of prior actions for 2026 wastewater treatment plant repairs. Mr. Greenlaw.
Okay, so this item ratifies prior actions proclaiming a local emergency caused by the infrastructure failures at the wastewater treatment plant. It also procures equipment and repair contracts to complete the work. The situation at the wastewater treatment plant is dynamic, and the emergency proclamation helps to streamline the repair actions and also to help us stabilize the plant quickly as we need to do that through city manager. So 2 different catastrophes occurred at the plant recently. First was a 12-inch force main that pumps raw sewage into the plant that failed right at the entrance of the plant. And we have made that temporary repair there, and we're heading toward the permanent repair. But in addition to that, while we were getting that finalized, the headworks portion of it, so that's the first step in the process when sewage goes into the plant. It goes through a filtration process that screens some of the biggest solids out of it and takes that and sends that to the landfill. That equipment at that headworks partially collapsed into the tank that actually receives that flow after it processes that. So we stabilized that. But what we need to do now is take that out of service, that tank, so that we can get that equipment off of it. And in doing so, we will dewater that. In doing so, that we need a piece of equipment that will do that same process. So we've had to search for and did find the ability to lease that piece of equipment that will install that. And then when we do those force main repairs, we'll put some permanent connections in for that so that at any time anything can be bypassed in the plant and go to maybe another piece of equipment there. And so there's that. And then also the work within this tank. So just imagine a swimming lap pool. If said, it's something that's about, 15 feet long, 12 feet wide, 12 feet deep, and it's a tank. And it's in need of concrete repairs. If we're going to take it down, then we go down and repair that tank, okay? It's not different from what we did previously about 2 years ago, was at the chlorine contact chamber, which is at the very end process of the plant. As the effluent is leaving the plant, it goes and gets contacted in a serpentine series walls there that are all concrete, and gets chlorine injected into it, and then it gets shipped out to the ocean. So that same contractor, which is Slater Construction, which is the one that did the chlorine contact chamber, which is the one that did the wharf phase 1 and is also doing phase 0 mole, the infill, they're going to be on the island. So it's just very efficient for having them. The very trusted contractor does good work and get that done without an additional mobilization. So that's what we're asking. Any questions?
I'll make a motion. Unless you have a question, Mary.
Well, I was just looking through it. I saw that at the bottom of this, there was a lease to own option.
Yes.
Are we going to go that way, or we're just going to use this as a temporary fix and get something permanent later?
Gives us that option. I mean, Bob was able to negotiate that lease to own, so we weren't losing that lease money if this turns out to be, we want to go that route, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not a one or the other, so that's built in there, and if we
all of
decide
this stuff
to go. All right,
We would get the credit for it.
groovy,
It's
just making
very
sure.
dynamic. We're pushing all opportunities
Yeah.
forward. If it seems like it's the best thing, then we get credit back for the rent payments. But it allows us, most importantly, to demo that while we're doing that, and so that we don't buy something and go, this
Absolutely.
thing didn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I used to work up there. I know what broke. Ew.
You wouldn't compare it to a lap pool, I'm assuming.
I got you. Paint a good picture here.
Then I will make a motion to adopt a resolution ratifying prior action of the city manager, making the appropriate findings and proclaiming existence of a local emergency caused by infrastructure failures at the wastewater treatment plant. 2, ratify prior action authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with Ovivo for a micro Aussie cup screen for the 3-month period for not to exceed a sum of $55,000. 3, ratify prior action authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Slater Waterproofing, Inc. for the rehabilitation of the wastewater treatment plant grit chamber for a not to exceed sum of $125,000.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Can we call for the vote?
3 ayes, 2 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa, Mayor Marshall.
Okay, then the final item we have is closed session, conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation, initiation of litigation pursuant to paragraph 4, subdivision D of section 54956.9, 3 cases.
Back in just a little bit. All right, we are back from closed session. If we could have an update from City Attorney Scott Campbell.
Yes, we have one reportable action in closed session. The city council unanimously directed the city attorney's office to file an objection to the permit issued by the California Department of Fish and Game regarding the Catalina Restoration Management project, on the grounds that one, CEQA noticing were not complied with, as well as substantive grounds that the permit was issued inappropriately.
Thank you. And we are adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.